You're on.
Sometimes we need encouragement. Sometimes Christians need encouragement. God is positive and negative. And because there's so many preachers preaching nothing but positive things today, a lot of the spiritual preachers have decided to preach nothing but negative things. When we have homecoming at church, which is a big ring-ding once a year, we celebrate the beginning of our church. It's called homecoming. We had this preacher come in, man. He is so negative. Last time he came, he said, "My church is dwindling away." He says, "Hardly nobody's coming." And I totally understood, because he was so negative. But God is positive as well. So I took him aside a couple of times and I talked to him. And I'm kind of anxious to see if any of it sank in. If he actually did catch a hold of. I gave him some biblical references as to why sometimes we need encouraging right along with. And I'm going to set up there. I thought about getting a shirt that had like a positive over here, a negative over here, and two little pins coming in the middle, and in the middle where they touch to create a spark. See if I can make up a shirt like that, positive, negative, spow, and because see, if you just have negative, you got no spark, or negative. If you just have positive, you got no spark. You gotta have both to get power. That's the ideal that I want to try to portray to him, because he really is a good preacher. And if you look at Christ, if you look at Jesus, you'll see that the things he did, he preached both negative and positive. He preached when he taught in the book of Revelations, he said to those churches over there, he says, "You have done good, but I have somewhat against you." So he had both negative and positive. In the stories that he taught, both negative and positive. In the parables, in the illustrations, and when he would heal people, everything he did, Jesus was both negative and positive. He called the leaders of the church hypocrites and liars, and he set the maniac of Gadara free. You know what I mean? Both negative and positive. So sometimes we need encouragement, preachers. Sometimes we need encouragement. The Bible says in Joel 3:2, it says this, and in that I want to tell you where God has taken us in today, because I want to encourage some today. Not all people will get encouragement out of this, because not all people look. Some people you can't encourage. Some people you just cannot encourage. "I will gather all nations, and I will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land." And and parted the land. If you look at Israel right now, in that little spot where they're in, that little spot they're in is not all of Israel. The land has already been parted. People waiting for the land to be parted, it's already been parted. Iraq and Iran is a part of Israel. All the way from the shore they're on, all the way over to the Euphrates River. from Israel way up into Syria and up into Russia, some parts down into Egypt, or down to the border of Egypt, I think it is. It's huge. It's almost as big as the United States itself. That is Israel. The land has been parted. If you go and read what God gave to Abraham, that is how big Israel actually is. Okay, so, and this is what God is getting ready to do. Okay, in Isaiah 17 is what God is talking about here. Isaiah 17. I want you to know that God is pulling them down right now to this valley. What's going on with Russia? What's going on with Syria? What's going on with the Muslims stirring up? Iraq, Iran, over in that area. Jordan and all those places, all that stuff. God is stirring those people that is on the land of Israel to plead for those. He's going to plead with them for his land and for his people, because they have taken. See, it says, and parted my land. That's part of the deal. God's going to give to them back that land. And I'm saying this today because I want you to know God has things well in hand. God has things well in hand. All that you see, all the troubles that's going on, it's all being orchestrated by God. How do we know this? Well, look at verse 2 again. It says, I also gather all night. God is doing it. In one place it says, with a hook in their jaw will I pull them down. With a hook in their jaw. They have no choice. They know what's going on. They see it coming. They're walking toward it. But they have no power to stop what God has put into their heart. Just like with Trump today. God has put into the heart of about 80% of America to elect this man. He is God's choice. It can't stop. There is no power on earth that can stop him from being elected. He is God's choice. Just like when Obama was God's choice to oppress the land, that people would turn their heart in this direction. This is all being orchestrated by God. All of it is being orchestrated by God. Okay? I just want to throw in here real quick. The Lord, just as I was waking up this morning, the Lord gave me a vision of my little niece, who and this is kind of a hereditary thing. In my family, some people have a very, very tender heart. They have trouble, and because of that, they have trouble dealing with life. And the Lord showed me how her heart was tormented. And the Lord had me to go over and write a couple different things to her that He had brought me through, because in the beginning my heart was like this. And those hearts are hard to see. You never know what's inside of somebody's mind, but God does. God knows where encouragement is needed. God knows when lifting up is needed. God knows when rebuke is needed. Man, some preachers, all they got in them is rebuke, 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 rebuke. You know? They go to church, they walk away bleeding. They go to church, they walk away bleeding. You got to give them enough time, pastors, to get some blood, more blood in there, you know. So when they come back, they can walk, you know, they got enough blood to bleed. Well, you know, why your church is failing is not because of their fault. They just ran out of blood. They're dead.